I got access to $40,000 in 3 months without working a single extra hour. That same 3 months, I would have maybe saved $6,000 working on the scaffold. And that's if I didn't spend a single dollar on anything else. And that gap, 40K versus 6K, same time, same person, is the difference between understanding leverage and not understanding it. I'm gonna break down exactly how that happened, what I did before the first application went in, what that process actually looked like, and what you need to have in place before you can access capital the same way. Let me give you the full picture of where I was before any of this. I grew up in Bushwick, Brooklyn, New York. Born in Ecuador. My parents came from Ecuador, and they both worked minimum wage. The ceiling I could see from where I was standing was simple. Find a career you can respect, have a family, put in 20 years, retire with kids, a house and a car, and I was making it. That was the goal for everyone around me. And then after high school, I bounced around. I worked as an after-school counselor, a basketball coach. I worked at BJ's / deli meat for $400 a week. Then construction and scaffolding showed up. $1,000 a week, more than double, right? So I jumped at it. And for a while, that felt like progress. I put in a ton of work, I got noticed, and then I got promoted to foreman. But that pride faded fast because the stress replaced it. I couldn't sleep thinking about materials, my crew, and who could get hurt the next day. And for what? For $8 an hour, $200 a day, $1,000 a week. That was the whole equation. And the problem with that equation is that it has a ceiling built into it from the start. You could only work so many hours. You could only save so much so quick. And when you work that hard for that long, the last thing you want to do is risk the money. So you protect it, you hold it, you definitely don't invest it. And that's not a character flaw. That's what happens when your only relationship with money is earning it slowly with your body, trading time for money. And so the idea of going to a bank and getting access to capital that wasn't mine, capital that I hadn't worked for, capital at 0%, it felt like something that existed for a different kind of person. Not someone from Bushwick, not someone whose parents worked the minimum wage. Definitely not me, right? And that road, it felt closed. Here's what changed everything. And I want to give you guys the specifics, not just the concept. I found John, my current business partner, through a Facebook group, Bella Sloan Academy. Shout out BSA. And at that time, it was a 1K mentorship that I paid for out of 1 full week's paycheck. And inside that community, inside that course, when I first got introduced to funding and to OPM, other people's money. Introduced to the idea that banks are not gatekeepers. They are business partners. That credit is not dangerous. It's a tool. And that the wealthy are not saving their way to assets. They're leveraging capital to build and scale while their own money stays protected. And that shifted something. But understanding a concept is different from executing it. And here's what the execution actually looked like. First, my personal credit file had to be clean. Not perfect, but decent, fundable. That means your score has to be above 700, no major derogatory marks or no negatives in the last 12 months, at least one call for 10K limit, and utilization lower than 30%. Second, I needed a real banking relationships, not just my one account that I had opened a while back. Banks want to see history. How long you've been with them? How much do you deposit? How much do you spend? How much do you pay back? So now a stranger with no history with the bank whatsoever walks in and asks for $40,000, they get a very different response than someone who has been a tenured, consistent, profitable account holder. Third, the application had to go in the right order. National banks first, the heavy hitters. So Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. These banks offer the highest limits, and some of them, especially Chase, right, they want to be first. They don't want to see other inquiries from other institutions when they pull your file. So if you go to them after hitting 2 or 3 other bank inquiries, you've already cost yourself the approval before the conversation even starts. After the national banks come the regional mid-sized banks. After that comes the local, smaller credit unions. And between each round, the inquiries come off the report. So the next round starts clean. And I didn't do all of this alone. John submitted the applications on my behalf. He made introductions to his contacts at specific banks. And then he walked me through exactly why the sequence is crucial. That structure is the only reason why the outcome was 40K and not 6K. Here's what staying in that old mindset actually costs. And I don't mean this as motivation, I mean it as math. If you're trying to fund everything yourself through your own savings, you're trading the one resource that you can't recover, time. We don't know how much of it we have, we can't buy more of it, and if the goal is to stop exchanging hours for dollars, doing it through your own savings takes 20, 30, maybe even 40 years. So by the time you get there, the energy is different. The season is different. When you finally be in position to build the things you want to build, your life will look different. I saw people my age already moving, investing, building businesses, not because they worked harder, but because they understood leverage earlier. That's the only difference between where I am and where they were standing. So when I got funded 40K without a single extra hour on a scaffold, that's when I understood that the game I was playing was never designed to get me where I wanted to go. And definitely not in a reasonable amount of time. Not with the life I wanted to build for my son. Credit, OPM, and leverage made the move possible. The sequence and preparation made the outcome real. And the time that I save is the part that nobody puts a number on. But it's really the most expensive thing in the entire equation. So you don't need your own money to start. You need to understand how to position yourself. You need the right sequence before you submit a single application. And you need to know how you're gonna use the bank's money to make more money. Hope you guys enjoyed my first video. Welcome to my channel. Hit that like and subscribe button. And then check that link in the description for your free funding roadmap so you can see exactly what you qualify for right now.